Team.
So we supposed to die together.
But
I'm just playing.
like I was saying earlier, kids, we love them. They are everything, but we have to make sure that they don't cause those tensions within our relationship. We have to make sure we take care of one another.
Right. Because we did struggle with that in the beginning of our relationship.
I think a lot of people do.
Especially when we had a blended family.
Yes, and definitely with new moms, because husbands, I ask that you just be patient, because new moms have to get in routine and have to get used to stuff. And y'all seen them love commercials. New moms, they doing all this. The second child is like whatever.
Right.
It gets like that, but you just have to help one another get into a routine so you won't forget about one another.
Okay, let me ask you this, because coming into our relationship, you was a single mother. So how do you advise one, or how can you relate to someone who may be a single mother but beginning to be in a serious relationship? How do they find that balance when it comes to giving that person time?
First of all, you have to have a discussion. That's a very long discussion you need to have with that individual. That individual they have to like kids, period. And you need to see them around your child. And if you're comfortable with all that, that's when you have that conversation and let them know, hey, because we had this issue. You have to understand, it's been me and my child for this long time. It's going to take some time for us to welcome you into our lives. I want to, but we have to come up with a plan. And I think that's all you have to do. Communication, coming up with a plan, making sure you do not forget about your child. Incorporate your child in some things. Talk to your child too if they're old enough, and let them know, I'm spending time with you here, but then I'm going to do this, and then we're spending time all together. You just have to communicate all of it, because I remember when me and you started talking, my oldest, she felt like the time that we spent in the car going back and forth, you took it. So we had to come up with a plan. And that's what we did.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, how hard was it to find balance?
It wasn't hard. We just had to figure it out. It wasn't hard to find balance. Thank God she was a child that went to bed at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
She was a child that went to bed early. I didn't have to tell her. I didn't have to threaten her. I didn't have to do anything. She ate, took a shower, 8 o'clock, she was asleep. So, we spent time. I'll probably talk to you on my way to get her from school. Then I would hang up.
Right.
Spend that time with her. Homework, bath, play, food, dinner, and all that good stuff, and then she go to bed. Then we'll talk again.
Yeah, and now looking back, I didn't understand that I was adjusting to that as well, because I didn't have a problem with you saying I have to do this, because I understood what it took. But it was just, I didn't realize that I adjusted to it like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind, because I knew what you had to do.
See, that's important too, because that individual on the receiving end has to understand and don't mind as well. If they pouting just like your child pouting, we got a problem, because I need for you to understand.
That's eye-opening.
Yeah, because you're the adult here. So I hope you will understand more than my child would. I mean, that burden, it's not a burden. I just think that person should understand more, because you're an adult.
It's a conflict.
And they should take the blunt of it.
Right.
Because they're an adult.
Wait, okay, I was going to ask, who should take the blunt of it?
The adult.
But there was a time when we came in, once we finally united and we're all together, it was times that I did say, okay, listen, it's time to do this or do that, to cut back. And not because I was being selfish or because I wanted you all to myself, but it was a time that I saw that, okay, you're no longer single. I'm here now for that. So it's time to cut certain things out, because we can't continue living like we're single parents.
Right.
Now we have to have this structure. So in order for us to make this as normal for us as possible, it's certain things you're going to have to cut back on. Do you kind of remember those phases?
I do. I kind of do.
How did you feel?
It was tough for me because I was used to doing everything.
Right.
So I think it was just tougher for me to let go a little bit.
So I said all that to say that if you are involved in a relationship and you have a child, there's going to be a time that you have to kind of cut some things back. I'm not saying off at one point, but you're going to have to kind of pull back, because you're going to have to make that relationship as though it's one relationship and not a relationship
with blended families.
With blended families, okay. And not a relationship inside of a relationship, because you can have the mom and daughter connection or the mom and son connection, and then you can have the husband and wife connection, and then it can even be the mom, daughter, or son and spouse connection. That makes sense what I'm saying? It could be so many relationships in one. You have to make all of this one relationship.
Make everyone feel comfortable, no one left out.
Right. And I don't even know how we got there, but I guess it needed to be
We was just talking about romance and how
kids could play a part.
Kids and kids was the first thing, but the article also talk about indulging in other hobbies. Your spouse may do that,
right?
And I thought about it, like sometimes the spouse may go off and do other hobbies because the other spouse is all into the kids and just forgot about the person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not bashing kids, please don't take it this way, but it's a balance. And I think say for instance you don't have kids, that hobby can do the same thing. It'll make your spouse go do something else. So you guys have to make sure you put each other first. And
it said in the article that the person might do that hobby to get away from the other person. And like that's with me, like I have other things that I do, but because I don't want it to interfere, I don't do them. And that makes sense?
Yeah, but honey, you remember we talked about being an individual person too.
Right, we did talk about that. But I feel it's not like I feel bad because I don't do it, or I feel like I can't do it. Like at first I did because I didn't know how you would take it. But once we talked about it, I was like, yeah, but I would rather be home.
Okay. Well, let's clear that up a little bit because I think that can cause resentment too.
All right, so let's back up. What we need to clear up?
Where you have a hobby and you don't do it because you didn't know how.
Okay, so I need to paint the picture.
Yes, because I think if it's something that you like doing and you don't do it because you don't think your spouse is okay with it, resentment can creep up.
Right.
So this is a lot. I know we giving y'all a lot. You have to put your spouse first, but you also have to be that individual person.
Right.
So it's a balance. It's a balance. It's a lot that you have to balance. It's like a math equation.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're doing for yourself, but you have to make sure that your relationship is healthy. I think if your relationship is healthy, it's okay for you to go and do those individual things. And I always thought our relationship was healthy enough for you to go do your individual things. That's how I thought.
I just think it's because of the way I viewed marriage and the way I viewed relationship was like I said a while back, if you're married, you should be home at a certain time. You should be home at this point and at this point. But I never I never understood how it was okay to just be gone. Not saying be gone all the time, but I felt in my mind the way a relationship was presented to me was you shouldn't be gone.
Okay.
So I think that muscle memory was put into my head, and I never felt like, honestly, I didn't never feel like you would have a problem with it. I just felt like maybe in my mind was playing tricks on me that you wouldn't understand. I sit alone in my four-corner room staring at candles. But I just don't know. Maybe I was just No, I was confused about that concept
Okay.
because I didn't understand it. And just looking at our relationship, I knew that you would understand, but then again, I thought you wouldn't understand.
I got you. I do think marriage have that you should be home at a certain time of night. Now you can go do your hobby, but don't think you walking up in here 1 a.m. in the morning.
See, and that's the problem because my hobby may have me there at
Okay,
that time.
but you communicating that with me too. It depends on what time you leaving. I know your hobby, and I know what your hobby entails. I know
Right.
that, so I will understand that. But if your hobby is golfing and you coming home at 1 a.m., what golf course is open that late and is that bright? Who out there with you?
Okay, so let's talk about fishing. Even though that's a small hobby, but fishing, you can go fishing anytime. Some people go fishing at night in boats. So what you think about people who have that hobby?
Like I said, you need to know your spouse's hobby. That's what you need to know. Okay. Just know.
Well, I guess Miss Kruger has spoken.
Yes.
But to clear the air even more, we did talk
you
about.
must be a professional fisher.
No,
Is
they
that
throw
the right
fish
word?
back. They throw fish back.
See, no. You not going outside late at night and then you throwing fish back and thinking you come home. No. You better show me something. I need to see a swordfish or a dolphin or a hammerhead or something. You better show me the money. You gonna bring some crabs home? What?
You said a swordfish.
I'm sorry. No. What you catching at 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. in the morning? What? Ain't they sleep? Everybody's supposed to be asleep.
Fish don't sleep.
I know. I went off for a minute. No.
Oh.
Talking about fish. No.
My stomach hurts.
Let's move on, Mr. Kruger, because
Okay.
I'm hot. That just tickled your tickle box,
You
huh?
said swordfish.
I mean, you got to fish that long. I need to see something extravagant.
Okay. Oh. We'll get together.
Oh man.
A swordfish. Okay, so people, romance is not all about sex. Oh,
Amazing.
amazing. Okay, so okay, so I think we kind of covered this. It says, "Are you my priority?" Make sure each other is first. We didn't even mean to cover that, but we did. All right. So another thing of the article says, my stomach is hurting. They don't want to argue.
Now this tip, what was 7 tips? This tip I was confused about.
Yeah, I want you
because
to read this.